Whether basic or elaborate, appliques can be easy using my step-by-step details and time-saving notions. To show you just how easy fusible appliques can be, I'll be using the transferring techniques using the fun and fabulous floral placement pattern. I'll be showcasing the coneflower design, as you can see. Whether you're using this pattern or another pattern, these techniques will apply. Now, as you can see, this is a rather elaborate applique design with many different elements. We'll show you that within the pattern and within all patterns that have appliques, there should be a layout, just the way the designer wanted this to be. So we can get this exact layout using a light table, fusible web, and other techniques. I mentioned fusible web. That's the first thing to consider. Pellon's Wonder Under is the basics. Been used for years with the fusible transfer paper, fusible applied to the transfer paper, and you trace on the paper side, press it to the fabric, remove the paper, and then put it down. Another option that you may want to consider is the light Steam A Seam 2. It has two layers of paper. A secondary paper without the web, and then the first paper, and I can feel it with my finger, the web on the top side, the primary paper. The reason that this has a little advantage, perhaps if you have a very detailed design, is that the web is tacky, so it works great for positioning. For basic or for elaborate, you have two options for working with fusible web. I'm working on a light table, the light pad. It's a nice size, 12 by 17. And I'm going to turn this on so you can see the great light and visibility you have for creating or tracing the appliques as well as positioning them onto the fabric. To begin with, as we look at the original design, the design and the pattern are identical. We have to trace on the mirror image of this design, so using the light pad I can flip this over and see through the design. I'm going to work with the Steam A Seam 2, tracing on the primary paper. And what I like to do is group all my same fabrics together. I'm going to be tracing the petals and getting the petals together as close as possible, so I'm not wasting any of the transfer material. And I'm just using a mechanical pencil. This is the mechanical pencil that Clover provides or has available, and I use this for all my quilting and marking as well. And since there are so many petals in this design, on the right side it's marked. This happens to be petal 1B. So on the transfer I'm just going to mark 1B so I know which place this area would go. Now, you're going to be tracing all the petals or all like fabrics together and then cutting out, using your paper scissors, cutting out all these designs. Now, obviously, I'd be tracing more than just two. Then after tracing or cutting these out, then remove the release paper and do some pressing. Pre-press your fabric to get rid of the sizing, and then position this on the wrong side of the fabric. Follow manufacturer's instructions. Don't overpress the web to the fabric. If the web is glossy, then it's been pressed too much. So don't overpress, underpress. A little less is best. Then cut out the designs, and that's pretty simple to do. Just follow the lines and cut it out, and then remove the paper backing. Now I'm just going to do one flower positioning for you. You would start with all the background fabrics first. Whatever in the background you'd put on first. But you're going to use the light table again for that positioning. We're going to flip this around to the right side because this is exactly the way it's going to look. And to aid in positioning, I can press right on the light table by placing an applique pressing sheet over the surface. Now, if you're working with Wonder Under, that would be especially important because then you could press right in this area. Then place your fabric. A light to medium color fabric, you'll be able to see right through the design. The stem goes on first. Your pattern will tell you what to put down first. So here we go. Now you can align it exactly the way the designer wanted it. You don't have to have any guesswork where it should be positioned. And let me scoot this up just a little bit. You can see that tacky surface for the web is sticking to my design, just the way it's designed to be. Line it up. And then we'll add the petals, positioning the area. And the last thing for this one bloom is the seed section. Now, it's kind of sticking, but to make sure, I'll just tack fuse it into place. Let me reposition that design. There we go. And the last thing that you do after you had designed your entire applique area is move it to your pressing surface and top press. So I can just move this over and then do the top pressing. The last step is to work at or to decide what stitching you're going to do around the edges, whether it's satin stitch or decorative stitch. And on Sewing with Nancy, I did a 3-part series called Applique Know-How, where I show you 18 different options for finishing the edges. You can choose whatever technique you'd like to use. Nancy's Notions offers a full selection of sewing notions to test out your new sewing or quilting skills. Order your supplies today.